All right. It's game time. Game time for me. We are now going to move to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Each inductee will be induced with a video before coming to the dais for their acceptance speech. Our first inductee is Chris Paradis from Amherst College. Yeah. Can I? Wait.
The real impact that Chris has had is on the decades of women's lives that she helped to shape and mold during her time as both a field hockey and lacrosse coach here at Amherst.
Chris had an immeasurable impact on me and so many others, not only as a player, but as a person.
Chris was a huge inspiration to me.
You've made an impact on countless student athletes over the years.
Chris had a tremendous impact on my coaching career and just who I am as a person.
You made such an impact in the lives of many women student athletes as a coach, as a mentor, and as a friend.
I worked with her for 4 years as her assistant coach.
Between field hockey and lacrosse, we coached nearly 20 seasons together. The bus rides, the spring break trips, the pre-practice runs down the bike path with Wiley. Thank you for all of the good times.
As a student athlete, as an assistant coach, as a coaching colleague, and now as the person taking over the program from her, I'm just so grateful that Chris is still here. Chris, you're still an incredible mentor to me, and I'm incredibly thankful for you.
You modeled respecting the game, working hard, being a good teammate, and being a person of high integrity. You held players to a high standard and helped them believe they could achieve their goals through discipline and hard work, and a commitment to one another. You let them have fun while working hard.
Chris has always been about coaching the whole person, about supporting women, her student athletes, in all of their endeavors, and in inviting them to take advantage of their entire Amherst career and opportunities available to them here on campus.
She taught me that sports is bigger than the X's and O's, and not only was she one of the most competitive people and one of the brightest in the game, she also taught me how important it is to have the balance of love and mindfulness.
She really taught us how to persevere through challenge. She pushed us to have more confidence in ourselves, to believe in our teammates, to trust our teammates, to love our teammates. And these are values I've taken with me for the past 20 years.
It was really reassuring to get to Amherst and to have a figure like Chris who was there to be able to help support me in a really formative time in my life.
You created a legacy by fostering a lifelong love of the sport in the players you coached, many of whom continued to play after graduation or became coaches themselves.
Chris has really shaped who I am as a coach today, and I owe a lot to her.
I've been coaching high schoolers for the past 16 years, and this is very much due to the impact that she had on me. I'm hoping to pay it forward, and even in the smallest degree, impact others the same way that she's impacted me and all of my teammates.
She helped to instill a love of the game of lacrosse in me, and definitely inspired me to go on to become a coach myself. And I have drawn a lot of my inspiration in who I've wanted to become as a coach from Chris.
Being able to be exposed to your philosophy and coaching style when I was a young coach was an invaluable experience for me. Coaching with you was truly a highlight of my career.
Amherst, national champion, women's Division III lacrosse.
The 2003 National Championship really changed how our department thought about competitive excellence. Your efforts set the standard not only for the department, but for both lacrosse teams.
You know, Chris is just a tremendous coach and person, and we're so grateful that she was the leader of this program for so many years.
Chris, congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame. I am so proud of you and just so honored to have had a chance to be influenced by you, and know that you continue to inspire me as I am involved in the game of lacrosse and just working with young people in general.
It is an immense privilege and honor to say thank you and congratulate Chris Paradis on her induction into the IWLCA Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Chris, on being named to the IWLCA Hall of Fame.
Congratulations on this incredible honor, Chris. It is so well deserved. I'm proud to know you.
I am forever grateful for the opportunity I've had to follow my passion for lacrosse, for teaching and mentoring, all while being a part of this incredible lacrosse family. The reward of witnessing student athletes grow up right before your very eyes and then move confidently into the world as a direct result of their sport experience is the true gift we as coaches take with us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go. I'm gonna be right here if you need me. I'm gonna be right here. All right.
Whew. Wow. This is so amazing. Just being here for the last couple of days and just witnessing the love and the pride in this organization. It's been truly just a great lead up to being here tonight. So good evening, thank you. Congratulations to all the award winners, so inspirational. And congratulations to Kelly and Chris. It's an amazing honor to be sharing the stage with both of you tonight as we get inducted into the 6th or 7th IWLCA Hall of Fame class. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I also want to thank those on the committee who thought I was worthy of this honor. When I was first told about this, which was back in March, I think, and I had a decision to make about whether or not to accept it, believe it or not, I first said no. I do not like standing up here and talking about myself at all, or being the center of attention. But many of you twisted my arm, many of you in this room, and here I am. And I decided to do this as a way to celebrate my career, share a few insights from my journey through coaching that may inspire, educate, and even highlight how one person's career can serve as a bridge from the past to where we are now as a coaching community. I do believe we're all bridges. We link the past with the future through the span of our careers. The people, the game, the moments, they all influence our personal development, and we in turn have a profound influence on the people, the game, and those moments. They're all related, and they define our legacies. First, I want to talk about and thank some important people. To my Framingham North High School coach, to my Mearstead summer mom, to my William and Mary coaches, Feffy Barnhill and Jean Stetler, to the person who gave me the gift of my first coaching job, Angela Tamaro from Greenwich Academy. You're all amazing women and coaches. You guided me, you gave me the tools, the confidence, and the knowledge that influenced who I am as a person and who I am as a coach. In the club and U.S. lacrosse world, it was coaching legends such as Sue Schooley, Carol Kleinfelder, Josie Harper, Sue Stahl, just to name a few, because there were many, many more. Thank you all for your mentorship and guidance. You too helped set the template for my career as a coach. Whew. Thank you to my dear, dear coaching colleagues. First from Amherst College, who are here tonight. Carol Nur, my longtime partner in coaching. Dawn Falstick, my athletic director, who has supported me throughout the years. Brooke Diamond, former player, former assistant coach, and now at the helm of the Amherst Women's Lacrosse Program, a bridge. All of my colleagues in the NESCAC, in Division III, with a special shout out to Jude, Patty, and Vorby. I want to thank all the amazing assistant coaches that I had the privilege to work with, and all the student athletes that I coached. Most importantly, I want to thank my family, my spouse, Angel, who's here tonight, my son, Ryan. My stepdaughter couldn't be here, Lou. And just all the friends, 3 special ones who are here tonight, Mark, Audrey, and Teresa. And all the family and coaches in this room who have supported me and stood by me over the years. I wouldn't be up here if it wasn't for all of you. To my parents who are no longer with me, I actually lost my mom when I was 10. And you know, our parents do the best they can. But being down one parent certainly had an impact on me. I constantly looked for stability, a sense of family, and mentors. So I turned to sports, and I found lacrosse. I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with the fluidity, the grace, and the grit. Back in the day, no lines on the field. There was a sense of freedom and expressiveness that was spacious. Whew. The game gave me the gift of team and of family and the ability to build the skills I needed to flourish. So let's talk about the game. So as I grew and changed and evolved, so did our game of lacrosse. Like the rules, USWLA, US lacrosse, now the NCAA. I know there's a lot going on with that right now too. Does anyone in the room remember the AIAW? All right, thank you. And then the sticks, Patterson and Cranberry, to the first molded head stick by Brian, which I think Kelly was like promoting back in the day. And now we have 1,000,000 sticks and the draw stick, and somebody takes the draw and they throw it off the field and all that stuff. Now, this is the best. The names of the positions. So when I played in high school, I played third man. Right? Can you imagine calling a women's sport position third man? Right. All right, so the field. So Chris Mason, you'll appreciate this. When we played at Williams back in the day, the trees were the sidelines. And then we added the restraining line, Karen Brower, even in the room, maybe Lisa Miller. Anyway, we wrote that rule like on a napkin, drinking a beer at a convention. Sidelines, dots. It wasn't that long ago we stopped on the whistle. And with no shot clock, we could stall for 5 or 10 minutes at a time, which we did regularly against Middlebury. All right, recruiting. I'm just ticking them off now. When I graduated from high school, I went to an on-campus audition at William & Mary for one of the first scholarships given to women, thanks to Title IX, an on-campus audition. All of these tournaments didn't exist. And Mearstead was the go-to. Mearstead was where you were seen and recruited from. Now, you know what we have. Three multi-venue sites, 100 fields, 10,000 athletes, tracking recruits on apps. And you'll see the video quality has changed over 20 years because you'll see the Northwestern's national championship video in a few minutes, right? I remember calling recruits on landlines and mailing recruit letters in envelopes with stamps. And one of my last years of coaching, my assistant came up to me and said, "So Chris, where does this stamp go on this envelope?" I was like, all right, yes, a lot has changed. But the fact remains, each one of us is a bridge. And as the game evolves and we evolve, how do we stay true to our values and be authentic? How does the game and all that goes along with it impact us, and how do we impact the game? There have been many impactful moments in our coaching lives in this room. These are the situations that give us feedback on who we are and what I believe we're all meant to learn along our spiritual path as coaches. Here are a few of those moments and lessons learned. First, accepting help and being mentored is a skill and a sign of courage. Wood stick and Adidas cleats in hand, off to Mearstead I went. It was my home away from home. Longtime owner Carolyn Hauserman took me under her wing, pointed me towards William & Mary, writing a letter on my behalf, opening a door that I would not have known about as a first-generation potential college-bound student athlete. Second, Persistence pays off, and sometimes less effort and more ease often works. As an aspiring US player after William and Mary, I tried out for the World Cup not once, not twice, 3 times. And I finally made it in 1993 when we brought home the gold from Scotland. What was true about that experience was that by the time I'd made that team, I didn't really care if I was going to make it. I stopped trying so hard. And I had a much healthier perspective on the whole process, which spanned about 10 years, 12 years. Third, relationships and family are more important than the winner of the game. Well, I have a few examples of this, like deciding to stay home when my son Ryan was about to be born, even if it meant missing our first Final Four as a program. Luckily, I made it my son was born, I made it to the Final Four, and that Monday I had the trophy and the baby, right? Then my brother decides to get married in the middle of May. And so we're in Gettysburg, and I fly to Providence, Rhode Island. I drive to Boston. I go to my brother's wedding. Carol coaches my team, and we advance, and I just prioritized family. And just the many, many moments in my career when I was reminded to prioritize relationships with colleagues, thank you, Patty, over the game or the win, or whatever situation came up. What's more important? And last but not least, find balance, go with the flow, breathe deeply and often. A few years after that first Final Four, and I think it was right after we won the national championship in 2003, I was so burnt out. I was coaching both field hockey and lacrosse, and I just didn't think I could do it anymore. My competitiveness, my perfectionism, my workaholism were just getting the best of me. Gifted with a semester sabbatical, thank you, Peter Gooding, I turned to yoga to relieve stress and deal with my aging body. All I'm gonna say is yoga works. It really works. Not only did it help my body, but it transformed who I am from the inside out. When I returned to coaching that fall, or that spring, I guess, everything felt different. The ground underneath me, my perspective, my nervous system, it was like I had a new lens on life. So in closing, if you approach life, coaching, and simply being a human as one continuous practice, there's gonna be curveballs, there are gonna be failures, there are gonna be hurdles every day. You will begin to view situations and things that come up as opportunities for growth and learning instead of things you need to try to control or fix. Your legacy is not simply your record or game scores. It will be defined by who you are as a person, your relationship to the people around you, your relationship to the game, and embracing every moment with kindness, humility, and awe. Thank you for sharing this awesome moment with me tonight. Namaste. Thank you. Woo! Woo! Thank you.
Congrats.
Oh.
So a couple things about this delightful human. The evolution of Chris Paradis for me was it was over the course of a long time. At first, when I was a player, she was the embodiment of intensity, and she was a neck snapper on the sideline. She had a team every year, had a team full of killers. She raised and coached a team full of killers, but I mean, they would slit throats on the field. It was like, I don't know what the score is. I'm a freshman, I'm getting lit up. But as a younger coach and getting to know her off the field, she also became a beacon of self-care and thoughtfulness. And for someone who's always been very strong but has absolutely mobility, she was the person who was, you should drink some more water and come to my yoga class in the morning. So whether it's driving her team to UMass Amherst to practice, thinking the field will be plowed and it's actually not plowed, and having her team practice anyway in 4 feet of snow, or stopping practice for a nature appreciation moment, the sunset or some nice leaves. Chris is a warrior and a fierce competitor, but you may also are just as likely to find her emerging from a tent, likely on Judy Finnerty's farm, by the light of the early morning sun to acknowledge the gift of a new day. I want to thank you, Chris, for your impression on me. Thank you. Okay, our next inductee is Christine Larson Mason. And for those of you who don't know, Chris was my college coach for all 4 years. She was the person that has made the biggest impression in my life from an athletics perspective. And I say that with another former coach of mine, Lisa Mellendy, who's now the athletic director at Williams. But I can see both of them in these characteristics. Chris made everybody play together. She never raised her voice, but everybody on the field would do anything for her at any time. Her generosity, kindness, and caring is on a level that could penetrate any barrier. And she welcomed a kid from the hood with an extreme case of imposter syndrome. This isn't what this is for, but I'm gonna just do this real quick. And made her feel welcome and made her feel that she could make a difference. I owe you so much. And I'm so proud to have been coached by you and to call you a friend. One spring, we had nowhere to go on Easter. And we had just played a game and there was not enough time to go home. And we as a team in the locker room decided that we were going to Chris's house for Easter. And the whole team went, and we told her the night before. So naturally, because she would give you the shirt off of her back, the last dollar in her pocket, she ran up to her family farm and had 2 pigs, J-Lo and Madonna, butchered for our Easter spiral ham dinner. And that generosity passed on to her children who grew up watching us play, the youngest of which is Siri Mason, who at what had to have been age 6, was the lucky enough to be babysit by me, sophomore Abby Jackson, who showed up brutally hungover. And instead of calling mom and saying, I don't know what's wrong with Abby, like she doesn't seem herself, she said, you need some soup and some water, why don't you have a seat? So to everybody that Chris has touched, it flows through all of her players. I want you to know, Moonju, Leanne, Tori, Petrelli, everybody texted me wanting to pass on the congratulations. I'm so proud to know you. I love you so much. Chris Mason.
I came to Williams in 1980, and I spent my career coaching women's lacrosse and field hockey. Makes me feel really fortunate to have found the perfect place for me. To think that I met my husband here, raised our children here, and became, part of this whole community is just very, very lucky for me. The players I've coached have been amazing. I couldn't have been luckier to have such a great group of women who really they just enjoyed being together. They enjoyed, working hard together, having fun.
Chris. Not only did Chris turn me into what was at the time a really good lacrosse player, but she taught me a lot about, I think, how to be fierce and bold and do it in a, what's the word I'm looking at? I don't know if I want to say like a classy way, but that you can be like a really strong, bold athlete and player and woman and be nurturing. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Like she was nurturing, but like fiercely, fiercely competitive. I don't think you get to the level that Chris is at without being really competitive, but she's so warm at the same time.
She's difficult to describe in a lot of ways, always energetic and full of passion for the game and for her players.
I have so much that I want to say about Chris Mason, which is why, like, okay, where do I go? Like, how much do I say? Chris Mason is probably one of the best humans you'll ever meet, and she was an Olympic athlete, right? So she knows what it takes, and she pushes her athletes and she challenges them, and then at the same time she's inviting them over for dinner after, and she has so much love for them.
She's a special person, a raconteur extraordinaire, the most incredible storyteller. I got to be her assistant coach for over 10 years down at Coalfield, and it was just a masterclass in coaching. First of all, her ability to see the game, make in-game changes is unmatched.
Chris was the perfect role model. She reached the highest levels of competition as an athlete. She was managing a high-stress, successful career while being a caring mom and a loving wife. And she had this amazing rapport with her former players and their parents. She was the whole package.
I think the thing that's often overlooked about Chris is her generosity of time. Early on, we started doing field hockey camps, and then we started doing field hockey and lacrosse camps, and this went on for almost 20 years. And she would do all of them for free. She would go out of her way to just help share her knowledge and love for the sport. And I feel like she's someone who is a great role model in terms of giving back.
My mom is the most competitive, compassionate, and caring person you will ever meet. She's also the type of person that is always going to get it done no matter what. Don't ever tell her that she can't do something or it can't be done. She's going to prove you wrong, whether that's making the U.S. field hockey team in 80 and 84 or coaching a team with no field through an entire season at Williams, or planning an after prom last minute after somebody else dropped the ball.
She not only wants to beat you, she wants to destroy you. At the same time, she is gonna give you a hug afterwards, enjoy the competition, always smiling.
I think Chris is really special as a coach and a person because she coaches with so much fire, both in how competitive she is, but also so much love.
It is my great joy to honor Chris Mason. She is a Hall of Fame for all of us who were lucky enough to play for her. Chris was the definition of coach. She was an Olympic level athlete herself, of course. She's got passion, she loves the sport, she was tough on us even as she believed in us, and she made it fun. Playing sports in college was one of the great gifts in my life, and I owe all of that to Chris. And as I've gone through life since, I appreciate how Chris was a coach and a mother too. She did it all for so many people, and I'm honored to congratulate her on this great achievement.
The game of lacrosse is a powerful game. It's an incredible combination of strength and power and grace and beauty. It's just a beautiful, beautiful game.
As Chris makes her way slowly to the podium, she does not excel at public speaking. We've had several incidents throughout her life where we lost consciousness, so I'm going to stay up here just as a safety protocol. But I also want to mention that Chris, in addition to touching so many lives at the college level at Williams College, and I will say that some of the most incredible memories I had as a student athlete was, yes, playing for her, but also working camp and just getting absolutely brutalized by Chris when we played field hockey at night in the gym. Like me, a 20-year-old athlete getting wrecked by 45, 50-year-old Chris Mason because she was an Olympic athlete, and I thought that I could handle her, and I was wrong. But Chris also had a huge impact and was the sole reason that lacrosse came to the Berkshire County area of Massachusetts. She started it all by herself. She coached clinics for people who wanted to coach high school and youth for free for years and years. So her effect in the Berkshire area of Massachusetts is going to be felt forever and ever and ever. Chris Mason. I'm going to stay. You're going to do great. You're going to do great.
All right. I did not butcher the pigs. I think my husband or brother-in-law did. And Abby sent out a text to the team. At the Mason's house, 4:30, we're eating the family pets.
We didn't have cell phones, it was an email.
Yes, it was an email. Oh, Abby. There. And Chris. And Kelly, congratulations. And to all the winners of these incredible awards and all the things you're doing for lacrosse nowadays, thank you so much. Stories is kind of the thing for me. And when Chris was alluding to some of the stories, every story makes me think of another story. I feel like as a coach, you end up with a treasure trove of stories to tell. And when Karen Henning called me to tell me I've been selected for the Hall of Fame, I was very surprised and felt incredibly honored. And I'm happy to be here tonight with all of you and see so many familiar faces and to meet some new people. But I have to tell you, as my children warned Abby, public speaking is not my favorite thing to do. And I haven't passed out since college, so I should be okay. But, but it's formal public speaking in this kind of a setting that is not good for me. But get me in front of my team, and you couldn't shut me up. They probably wanted to. But there was so much to be said on the field at practice and during games. And then off the field, I had to share all my stories with them. Yak, 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 yak. All the stories that ever happened to me in my life. They had to hear them all. And now I have no team. Sad me, I have no team to share them with. And all my friends and my family have heard my stories 1,000,000 times. But there was someone new in town. So now I drag Alice Lee to Dunkin' Donuts to hear my stories. Yak, 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 yak. Sorry, Alice. Sorry. But thank you for this nomination, and thank you so much for helping Dick Quinn and Jay Corey get this video together for me. I never could have done it. I really stink with technology. When it didn't start working, I thought it was something I had done. So even though I'm a big talker, yacker, I was really nervous about coming here to speak tonight. But I found out Abby would be introducing us. And I have stories about Abby. She's already told a couple good ones. And there's about an hour's worth I could fill, but you'll have to meet me at the bar later for that. I'll just tell one, because it has to do with coaching. A lot of the others don't, but yeah. Okay, so Abby's freshman year, she comes in, this great athlete. She plays soccer for Lisa Melody. She plays basketball for Pat Manning, and she's our starting goalie in lacrosse. And my assistant coach at the time was a woman named Kasha Sullivan, who was on the video. And she was a first team All-American field hockey and lacrosse player, great athlete, great athlete. And Abby was a great athlete, but she had this little habit. She had a little hitch in her step. When she would make a save, instead of stepping forward, she would do a little ba-boom backward. Opening more goal, whether it was low or high or mid-level, she would step back. So we explained it to her, coached her about it. We made up some drills for her. We explained it again. We changed the drills. I think I swore into my assistant coach's ear a few times during games. Fast forward to the end of the season, we are in the semifinals of the national championship. We win the game. It was awesome. Abby comes out, and I'm like grabbing her, hugging her. It's like, Abby, that was phenomenal. You were great. She goes, yeah, I thought I'd try that step 2 thing. It worked pretty well.
What an arrogant jerk. Thanks for not kicking me off the team.
Yeah, as much as that's a wise comment, can I say it? Is that okay? That's the moment we wait for as a coach. That's what we coach for. That breakthrough moment when the light bulb goes on and they get it. And it's just so exciting and so rewarding for us. And Abby, as I tease her all the time, but she is one of my favorite people in the world, and I'm so proud of the things she's doing now. Some of the other favorite people that I have in my life are sitting at my table or two here. We've spread out a little bit. My husband could not be here, unfortunately, and 2 of our children. I was lucky, so lucky to meet my husband there at Williams when he was helping coach the ice hockey program. He had played there, and he was coaching when I went there. And we were really fortunate to raise our 4 children in that nice college community around all those athletes. And, you know, they all ended up good people and good athletes. It takes a village, you know, and we're just really appreciative of that. Our son, they all ended up playing a lot of sports too. Our daughter Carly can't be here. She went to Lake Forest College. Our son Clinton, he went to Babson College. Our daughter Siri, there. She played lacrosse at Endicott College, and Emily played ice hockey and lacrosse at Connecticut College and is the Concordia University of Wisconsin coach in lacrosse right now. Yeah. My sister Carol is here. Carol and I are of that age where youth sports, for the girls at least, was playing in the neighborhood. The guys would all go down and do their little soccer and football, and they'd ask us if we wanted to go down and be cheerleaders. You know, my friends and I all went down and said, no thanks, and we went back home and played in the neighborhood. And then when the boys were done, they'd come home because we were having more fun, and we'd all play in the neighborhood. So we didn't have organized youth sports, but until like junior high, high school. But we were lucky to have 2 athletic parents, and they exposed us to a lot of sports. And once we got into junior high and senior high, my sister's older, sorry to tell you. She looks younger, but she's my older sister, and so whatever she was doing, I wanted to do what she was doing and follow in her footsteps. We also have Lisa Mellandy, who is the athletic director at Williams College, and I think she would consider her greatest career accomplishment being the JV coach for lacrosse and my assistant coach. Yeah. A couple players. We have Wendy Stone, who was a great player for us at Williams, and I've gotten to be friends with her entire family, and she is now the coach at Niagara. Who else we have? So over here we have another former player, Alana Teutonico, in your program. She's in the program. She was an All-American and Offensive Player of the Year, and her daughter, Emma Brock, is here playing in the showcase this weekend. Also, a friend, Heather Coppola, back there, the coach at Mount Olive, and her assistant coach, Summer. All right, and we have Alice Lee, and the Williams coach, and then her assistant, Erica. Also, one of my husband's friends showed up and surprised us that he went to Williams with. Right here, we have Brian Fail, who lives down here in Florida. And that's my table. Anyway. Thank you for coming. Anyway, how lucky are we to do this as a job? You know, for me to have had this as a career, it was just a dream come true. I absolutely loved seeing the athletes come in and for 4 years continue maturing and be able to see them growing as players and as people. It was just a very rewarding experience for me. And I'm incredibly appreciative of the opportunity that I was given by Williams College. I'm grateful for all those wonderful athletes and families that I've gotten to know, and for the wonderful friendships I've made with my assistant coaches, my colleagues at Williams, as well as in the broader coaching community. I'm also very touched to be receiving this recognition, and honored to be included with Chris and Kelly, as well as with 2 other NESCAC friends, to be joining 2 other NESCAC friends, Missy Foote and Robin Shepard. Also my college coach, my Penn State coach, Jillian Rattray, and my U.S. field hockey assistant coach, Marge Watson. Yeah. I just hope I was able to give a little bit to this sport that gave me so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. Last, but certainly not least, and don't think you're getting off the hook, Kelly, with my color commentary, because I have some material for you too as well, is Kelly Amante Hiller. And just watching her coach, as I typically do from my couch, she's someone that we all end up watching at the end of the season. Just always turn on the TV, there's Kelly and her squad ready to go. And having the pleasure of having a whole army of your former players in the Pro League now, they provided me with a couple of things they wanted me to share with the group. Hopefully what we'll see tonight, at some point, is the fabled victory shimmy that only happens post-game in the huddle. So keep an eye out for that. People have described Kelly, as some people have already tonight, as someone who is willing to do anything and always the hardest working person in the room. Cindy Timshall, way back in the day, when Kelly said, "What else can I do? What else can I do?" Cindy said, "Well, do you want to drive the bus?" And while she did not drive the bus that day, she did eventually fulfill that task by passing the bus driving duties on to Scott, who was tasked with bringing the luggage to games during COVID. And it just is a symbolic way, like it's funny, but it's an embodiment of her desire to always do the most and get the best results for people she works with and people she coaches. Please direct your attention to the video board.
One of the true legends of the game, 22nd season as the Northwestern head coach.
Heart and soul, keep it simple. Here we go.
I feel honestly like really humbled to be part of this game of lacrosse. I think that it has changed me as a person. It has changed my life. It has impacted every aspect of my family. And you know, every day that I walk into my office and I see my team, I think about those things, and you know, I think about how am I gonna lead and give back to this game.
She is a Wildcat through and through. I mean, it is all about Northwestern for the Hall of Famer, the legend, Kelly Amante Hiller.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Kelly's impact on our sport is like nothing that you could imagine.
It's a 5th consecutive national championship for Northwestern.
And
just wanted to help out my team as much as I could. I could see her vision. I could feel her vision for the program and the positivity and the intensity that she had for the game and for wanting to make this program be one of the best in the country.
They're back to the top of the lacrosse world. The Wildcats are national champions again.
I mean, I think when you talk about Northwestern lacrosse, it's legendary, it's iconic, it's culture of excellence.
Playing for Kelly was, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was one of the most challenging, but also one of the best experiences of my life, and I definitely wouldn't be who I am now without going through that.
Wizardry for Lindsay LaCombe.
She is just an elite competitor. She instills values in the young women in the locker room that they can then take on into the real world every day.
I think the one thing that I'm most proud of accomplishing in my career is bringing groups of young women together and creating an environment where they can be really confident and become, you know, a really cohesive group.
This Northwestern team has a sense of joy, has a special spark to them, and you're seeing it on the faces of everyone connected to this team right now.
She's evolving constantly.
You know, she'd come to practice with new ideas on how to do the ride or, you know, how to do a backer D and all these sorts of things.
You know, I think about all of the people that have impacted me as an individual and helped me grow in my playing career and then as mentors into my coaching career, and I'm just forever indebted to them.
After an 11-year drought, Northwestern back on top. The Wildcats are national champions.
What does this championship mean to you? Honestly, it means everything.
Success doesn't come easy, and it takes a lot of hard work, and she just embodied that. Congrats, Kelly. This is so well deserved.
Kelly, congratulations on being inducted to the Hall of Fame.
You've done so much for the sport beyond just how you coach and how you play. You are a true advocate for women and a true advocate for lacrosse.
You have really pushed this sport in a great direction. You continue to do so.
You're an incredible coach and inspiration to your current players and every player that's ever been fortunate enough to go through your program. We learned a lot from you when we were there. And a lot has, resonated with me even more so after the fact of being there. So thanks for everything you do, and keep it up.
Welcome to the stage, Kelly Montehiller.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I don't feel even worthy of being up here. There's so many people in this room that I look up to and that have paved the way for me as a player, as an individual, and I feel really humbled to be here. And I just want to thank everyone who has come before to be in the same class as Chris and Chris. It's like, Chris, I was lucky enough to serve on the rules committee with you and get to know you and just see how intelligent and amazing and thoughtful you are, and get to do some yoga with you too. That was pretty cool.
And Chris, I haven't had the pleasure of knowing you as much, but I do know Alice quite well, and she's definitely doing a great job at keeping your legacy going. So thanks to the committee for nominating me. As I said, I feel pretty humbled and really lucky to have a lot of Wildcats in the house tonight. So, you know, this journey, I always say to my players that, you know, things definitely happen to serve us and for us instead of to us. And I was lucky enough to have a couple of big brothers that played ice hockey, and that led them to a private school called Thayer Academy. And because they were great athletes, it paved the way for me to have an opportunity to go to Thayer Academy as well. And luckily, Thayer Academy did not have softball, my sport of choice in the spring. And also luckily, the coach at Thayer Academy was a legend, Lisa Miller, who was also a Thayer Academy alum. And she came and spoke to me and said that you need to play this game. And it brought me to this really, really special game. I fell in love with it right away. Lisa had great care. She drove me 8 hours. I'm not sure why my parents let that happen, but just let me go with Lisa 8 hours to William & Mary, Pfeffi Barnhill's camp. It was like it was the first elite camp. And I remember, as people have said, I'm pretty competitive, and at that camp, I was scolded by Heather Dow for slamming my stick after I had made a bad play. And that was the first great lesson I learned from a great mentor. And I was lucky enough to have Heather as a coach later in my career. And then I had a few other great coaches in high school, Wendy Happ and Karen Germini. And Karen really helped guide me to make the choice to go to the University of Maryland. I stayed on my recruiting trip with Kirsten Kimmel, and she was a great help at luring me there, and Mandy Hudson as well. And, you know, I was so lucky to I was the only family member to break out of Boston and go somewhere different. And I use this in my recruiting pitch these days when I'm at Northwestern. It was really truly the best decision that I ever made, because although I was very afraid to go and leave my family, it made me a risk taker. It allowed me to have confidence that I could do something different in my life. And I met Cindy Timshaw. And Cindy lured many, many great Maryland players. Obviously, I mentioned Kirsten, Kathy Reese is in the room, and Missy, and Karen Henning. If you guys know Izzy Skane and Erin Kuykendall, back in the day, that was me and Karen. Whenever you receive an award like this, it's a culmination of so many people. It's not your award, it's their award. And my teammates, my great teammates that taught me so much, and then Karen fed me every goal that I ever scored. And she's truly the most humble, amazing person, and I feel truly lucky to have been her teammate and friend. So thank you, Karen. Cindy is, just such a forward thinker. Everyone who, you can also see so many people in the room that were coached by her. And, I just think she lit a fire in us and a passion for this great game. And she taught us how to think differently, and to really believe in ourselves. And I was fortunate enough to have Mandy as my assistant Mandy and Cindy came and did a home visit, and they went to my grandfather's house instead of my house, and he kicked them out. He thought they were people soliciting. And then finally they found their way to my house. And, you know, it's just really, really lucky to have both of them as mentors. And then when Mandy left to go to Yale, I was fortunate enough to have Gary as a mentor as well. And between Cindy and Gary, you have two of the greatest minds in the sport. Just so lucky to have been coached by them. And then, you know, after I graduated, I was blessed enough to have a great opportunity to coach at Brown University by Carolyn Norris. She hired me. She was friends with Cindy and kind of took a chance on me and just really mentored me. You know, I would drive from Milford, where I worked at Brown, to go coach at Brown, and she just was such an amazing mentor, and I still keep in touch with her, and I'm very excited that Katrina is now taking over that program. And then I got the call from Northwestern, and I was just newly married to Scott, and I said, I definitely don't want to leave Boston. I already left once. I'm not leaving again. And Scott said, you know, just go on the interview, see what it's all about. These opportunities don't come around that often. So I did, and I found out how amazing Northwestern is. Just such an amazing place with so many amazing people. I was hired by Rick Taylor, mentored by Nancy Lyons, and, you know, just, I knew nothing. Literally, had never been a head coach, had never been a full-time assistant. I worked with Phil Barnes at UMass for a little bit. I worked at BU, and, you know, I needed everything to learn. I had the opportunity to coach the club team 1 year and then went on to coach the varsity team. And I just took everything that I knew from growing up that my parents taught me about working hard, and then what my coaches had taught me, Cindy, Gary, Sue Stahl, Heather Dow from the USA team, and just made it up as I went along, and tried to act confident so they would believe in me. But we were able to be in a place where no one really cared. There was no media, there was no nothing. We just kind of did our own thing, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And I actually have my first graduate, Angela McMahon-Serpone, here in the audience. She transferred from UMass over to us, and you know, just that she joined us with a really, really special group of girls in my first class. And we bought into something, and we believed, and it became really special. And at that time, in 2005, when we won our first championship, I was fortunate enough to have Alexis Venecianos, who's now back with us doing the reunion tour. And she was joining us as a coach, and Scott was helping out as a volunteer. He hadn't fully joined the staff yet, but I don't know how we did it, but we figured out a way to have some success, and we grew a tremendous family in the process. And then, you know, we just decided to keep doing it, and honestly, like the ladies in the room, we have Shannon Smith here, Brooke, who also helped coach with me on the USA U19 team. All right, we've got Nicole Beardsley, Danielle, the Queen Big Spence, Ann Elliott, all right, and then later on in my career, we had Tim McCormick, who spoke on the video, one of truly the most amazing people that I've been around and a great friend. And then Jacqueline Moxley, and then who could forget Scott? He's the MVP, right? Because he takes the heat a lot from me. And, you know, really, truly, like, Scott deserves this award more than I do, because he is the rock of our family, and he's patient and kind, and he came after an internship of, I don't know, Jana, was it 18 years? He interned as a volunteer for 18 years, and then we decided to hire him as a full-time assistant. He made the cut. But, you know, he really has taught me so much. And, you know, I think that we had that run of championships, and then, you know, we didn't have that success. And that run, I think, for Scott and I, was the most amazing learning experience of our whole lives. We learned so much. We had so many alumni. And in the video, I said, you know, this means so much to me because I felt like we learned so much over these last 10, 11 years and poured so much into it. And one big person who's in the room that supported us through that time is my boss, Jana Blay. I'm so glad that she's here tonight to celebrate. She's truly one of the most amazing leaders in women's athletics, and I've been lucky to have her as a mentor in the beginning when we first started, and now as a very, very close friend. We support each other through everything that happens, and someone that's both Scott and I really turn to. Scott's not allowed to report to me, so he reports to Jana. So she mentors the both of us significantly, and you know, Jana has actually done a lot for our sport as well. She served on the NCAA lacrosse committee many years and really helped, I think, people kind of see the beauty of pushing our sport outside the boundaries, especially from a geographic standpoint. I hope that Northwestern has played some role in, you know, spreading the game west. But, you know, in closing, I just want to thank everyone in this room, but because truly you've all inspired me to want to be better every single day. As we all know, the athlete that we coach today is very different than the athlete that we coached in the beginning of our careers. And it takes a lot of, I think, patience, humility, thinking outside the box. But this game truly has given me everything. It's given me my family. It's given me great joy, great relationships, a new family of Northwestern alumni and friends. And I just feel very lucky to be here tonight. So thank you all for pushing me and continuing to push me, and you have my word that I will continue to give back to this great game that has given me so much. Thank you.
Congratulations again to everyone. Big night. The thing that everyone keeps coming back to, the word that I keep hearing, is community. And especially today in the world with just, you open your Instagram and what am I going to see, horrors am I going to see today? And they're fighting in the hallway in Congress, and gas prices are high, and you know, eggs cost a lot, whatever the issue is. It's hard out here right now. Chris knows what I'm talking about. Judy Finnerty's the real winner because she's got chickens, so. Southwestern corner of Connecticut, if you really get in a bind. That's where you can find the eggs. So today, community, it's really hard. It's hard to find. It's hard to find a genuine, true community that you can rely on and come back to no matter what. And the thing about having a strong community is that you can speak the truth together and to each other. And I was not here earlier, but I did spend a few years on the rules committee. And I got a text from my former assistant, who is now the current head coach at Union, with just the emoji of an explosion, and said, rules meeting is going off. And the lacrosse community, even though it seems big, it's also very small. We at Athletes Unlimited are also going through a rules evolution right now. If you come out on Saturday, you could see us test it in real time and see how that works. But the good thing is that you can go at each other, right? You can straight talk each other. You can challenge each other. And at the end of it all, even though it might be hard, painful even, the community is still there and everybody comes out better and stronger on the other side. This right now is the time for women's sports. We're getting TV slots, people are getting paid. The Iowa LSU beef was like peak Instagram fodder this past year. And so many athletes, so many high profile athletes are out on all platforms representing power and confidence and skill to millions of little girls. For our sport specifically, and for the first time, women in our sport, we are heading to the biggest stage on the planet, the Olympics. Yeah. Yep. That happened because of every single person in this room and everybody that has ever coached or played this sport. Whether you know it or not, you had a hand in making that happen. So keep it up. You are all doing the true good work. Thank you, and be responsible at the bar.